Thragg's strength is off the rails, but what if he used it to change the universe forever? Let's take a look at what had happened if he killed Invincible the moment they met. The second Mark goes down, this whole universe's future starts caving in, because Invincible isn't just another superhero getting taken off the board. He's the one person holding a lot of different sides together before they collapse into chaos and change the timeline forever. He's the son Nolan failed. The hero Earth slowly learns to trust. The Viltrumite who proves strength doesn't have to become cruelty and harshness. And eventually, the only man who could have pulled his entire race back from the edge of eradication. Once he's gone, that future never gets the chance to exist. It dies with him right there at the beginning, before he reaches his peak, and all hope for a peaceful world goes along with it. For Earth, the nightmare starts immediately. Mark spends so much of Invincible becoming the person who can actually stand in the way of Viltrumite domination. Without him, Earth loses its strongest defender before that role has even fully taken shape and become needed. The Guardians of the Globe, Cecil, and every other protector on the planet would still fight back, but now they'd be doing it with a massive gap at the center of their defenses. They'd be trying to stop a cosmic empire without the one hero literally born to survive it. Human heroes can stall things, sacrifice themselves, and even win small battles. But against something like Thragg and the Viltrumite Empire, it's the large, hard-hitting battles that make the difference in the war. This whole event would hit Nolan harder than anyone else. If Mark dies that early, Omni-Man loses the one relationship that ever forced him to face what he'd become. Mark is the sole reason Nolan starts breaking away from the Empire's cold logic and adapts more human traits. He's the reason that guilt turns into meaningful change instead of getting treated as a weakness. So in this version of the story, Nolan doesn't find redemption through his son. He gets grief, rage, and a kind of pain that would probably swallow him whole. He'd want Thragg dead more than anything in existence. The problem is, wanting Thragg dead and actually killing him are two completely different things. And, sadly, only one is possible. Nolan would definitely try to fight back, and he'd probably do it with nothing but emotion pushing him forward, making him even more dangerous, but more so to himself than to an enemy. He'd go after Thragg without a solid plan, simply because he has nothing left but his own strength. Thragg would use that against him, because that's what he does best. He's at his most dangerous when other people are desperate, because desperation makes them reckless, and reckless fighters don't last long against someone that's disciplined and well-trained. Nolan might turn it into a brutal fight, and he might even make Thragg bleed. But a grieving father throwing himself at the strongest Viltrumite alive isn't a story of successful revenge. It's the start of the collapse of Earth's final real defense. And once Nolan falls, the rest of the universe starts coming apart fast. The coalition of planets would still be around, and Alan the alien would still want to fight. But without Mark and Nolan, their best path forward is shrouded in danger. Mark isn't just extra muscle in that larger war. He becomes one of the main reasons the future can bend toward something better in the first place. He helps connect worlds that otherwise stay enemies. He proves there's another way for Viltrumites to exist. He gives people someone to believe in. Without him, the coalition isn't just weaker in battle. It's weaker in spirit, weaker in leadership, and weaker in every long-term possibility that depends on Viltrum changing from within. Thragg would understand that right away. He wouldn't waste a win like this, celebrating it and letting his enemies recover. He'd move straight into making the most of that huge opening strike. That means hunting down every remaining threat in order of importance. Nolan becomes a target if he manages to survive the initial assault, but ultimately, he'd probably die anyway. Alan, Robot, and Oliver are all possible dangers who will be stomped out straight away. Thragg doesn't leave dangerous possibilities alive when he can help it. That's one of the reasons he stays in power for so long in the first place. He's as calculating as he is powerful. Then comes the part that changes everything. Earth doesn't get destroyed. It gets claimed. Thragg already believes the Viltrumite race's future depends on rebuilding its numbers, and Earth is the perfect place to do it. Humans are genetically compatible enough to make the plan work, and the planet has the population, resources, and infrastructure needed to support a new generation of Viltrumites. Without Mark alive to challenge that idea from his good morals, and without stronger resistance capable of stopping it by force, Thragg would turn Earth into exactly what he needs. Not a home, not an ally, but a resource hub. And the scariest part is that he probably wouldn't even have to conquer it in the most explosive way. He could do it gradually with quiet form of control. Governments, bent behind the scenes. Heroes, picked off one by one. Fear spreading faster than facts. By the time ordinary people understand how big this problem really is, the world would already be changing around them irreversibly. Viltrumites wouldn't need to stand in every city waving flags. They'd only need to make resistance feel pointless, and survival feel conditional. Once that happens, the planet becomes easy to manage. That means Earth's culture starts rotting under pressure. Freedom wouldn't disappear all at once. It would get chipped away piece by piece. Institutions would stop functioning the way they should. People would vanish. Entire systems would start serving a type of ruler that most humans never chose and can't challenge. Families would live under the shadow of a future they can't control. And the deeper the Viltrumite breeding program goes, the more human identity starts becoming secondary in the planet's own future. Earth would still look the same on the surface for a while, but underneath it would be changing into something else entirely, a nursery for an empire that sees compassion as weakness. That also changes the kind of story Invincible becomes. In canon, the series slowly builds toward the idea that toxic cycles can be broken. Mark suffers constantly, but his suffering still matters because it pushes him toward becoming the man who refuses to accept that power must always lead to domination. If Thragg kills him immediately, that theme gets ripped out by the root. The story stops being about growth, struggle, and the painful possibility of change. It becomes a tragedy about what happens when the worst person wins before the right one has time to become who he needs to be. Someone would still resist, though. That human urge never goes away, especially with people like Cecil. Maybe even some Viltrumites would eventually start questioning Thragg, especially if they watch the Empire grow more desperate and more brutal under his total control. But now, Resistance is operating without the symbol that ties all those possibilities together. Mark could reach people no one else could, and bring them together. He could challenge Viltrum physically and morally at the same time, choosing change over destruction. Without him, everyone else is only fighting pieces of the problem. Nobody's addressing the center of it. That probably means the coalition war ends badly too. Thragg, with no Mark in the picture, isn't just stronger in combat. He's stronger politically and strategically since that single, powerful variable has been removed. No heroic Viltrumite with the right blood, the right heart, and the right perspective slowly rising into place. Thragg gets to keep presenting himself as the necessary ruler, the brutal force holding his species together after disaster. And in a universe already packed with fear, that kind of force keeps winning until something equally powerful rises to oppose it. Without Mark, that counterforce may never arrive. Nolan's absence would make everything worse. Whether he dies trying to avenge Mark or survives long enough to become a broken shell of himself, his role in the future shrinks drastically. In the actual story, Nolan becomes one of the central figures in Viltrum's larger transformation. Here, he probably becomes just another casualty of Mark's death, either physically or mentally. And if Nolan falls apart, then the bridge between Viltrum's past and its possible future falls apart with him. That leaves Thragg with even less internal opposition and far more room to shape what remains of his people in his own image. And that image is something awful. Thragg doesn't want peace in any human sense. He wants order, obedience, survival, and expansion. Under his rule, the Viltrumites would survive, but they'd become a harsher, colder, more tyrannical version of themselves. There's no redemption, no meaningful evolution. Earth would be the foundation of that future, which means humanity's significance would be reduced to fuel for someone else's civilization. That's what makes Mark's death feel so crushing. It doesn't just remove a hero, but the only future where strength and empathy could have existed in the same place at the same time. Mark makes such a huge impact because he proves that power doesn't have to turn into Thragg. Without him, Thragg's worldview starts looking right in the ugliest possible way. The strongest survives, while the kind-hearted die first. The universe bows down to raw strength because nobody like Mark can rise to challenge it. Killing Invincible that early would send a message through every level of the universe. To Earth, it says resistance is pointless. To the Coalition, it says hope is weak. To the Viltrumites, it says the old way still rules. That kind of victory teaches entire worlds to stop imagining anything better. At that point, Invincible turns into a survival story inside a conquered future. Now, every victory is temporary, every rebellion is smaller, and every act of defiance happens under the shadow of a depressed world that has already failed. All that's left is an empire built on domination, rule by a harsh tyrant, and a universe that slowly learns to survive without ever truly being free again. So that's what would happen if Thragg killed Invincible. What do you think of this scenario? Is there any hope for mankind getting out of it in one piece? Let us know what you think in the comments. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more awesome Invincible content.